Hey guys, how's it going? Ronin Man here. I want to give a big shout out to Captain MGTOW in Israel and to Fjordor in Norway. Thank you very much for your very heartfelt messages. Both of these messages were, 3 pages long and describing unhappy situations they were in a relationship and how they got out of it and how they recovered, really, essentially, from this situation. And I think a lot of people are in situations that are not happy and they have difficulty changing. And that's partly why I think people go MGTOW and start listening to MGTOW videos, is because they just feel unsatisfied or unhappy with what's going on. And they can't really put a finger on it. Like, what is going on? And, this channel is not about blaming anybody. It's not about making fun of anybody. It's certainly not about hating anybody. It's about making the right decisions for you. So what should you do based on what's going on in your life? So I want to talk about this article right here. Is actually a very important article. And I want to take it, I'm going to read this article and I'm going to talk about it, but it's going to be from a very different perspective from what you're used to when you're reading an article like this. When there's an article like this, what I generally hear, and not just articles, but I see this whenever I work in a company or I'm near a group of people talking, I'll hear men and women talking. Could be anywhere. Could be at a church function. I don't go to church, but it could be like some kind of social function, or it could be a company function, or whatever things I end up being in. You hear people talking, right? You hear women talking, you hear men talking, and so this article I think is very accurate. So I've heard this many times from women. They prefer being with their friends to being with their lover, quote unquote lover. And I think what generally, before I even read this article, I want to say what generally I hear is a little bit. It's a little bit of a snicker almost. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like a serious kind of a put down. It's like women prefer it's like you're not that as a guy. You're not. It's kind of like this. Well, look at the look on the girl's face on the right. It's kind of that look. It's like, yeah, we prefer our friends to you, to guys. And I hear this a lot, and sometimes it's said in as a joke. And I don't want to take something and exaggerate it. Okay, I'm really talking about reality here. I often hear this, and I see there's kind of a thing. There's a smirking kind of feeling often. The reason why that happens, and you can't really blame women for this. In fact, you shouldn't blame women for this. The reason why is because men stay in situations that are uncomfortable. And so, naturally, women will look down. So, for example, let's say a guy's in an unhappy relationship. And he stays in an unhappy relationship where he's not happy and he stays there. And the woman knows it. Women are very intuitive. I mean, that's... human beings are intuitive. Our dog is intuitive. That dog knows what's going on, and humans are much, much smarter than dogs. Both men and women. We know what's going on. We have a sense of things. We didn't survive, hundreds of thousands of years of evolution and millions of years as living creatures without having intuition. This is something that's built into us. And women especially have a strong sense of intuition as a whole. Not everybody, but as a whole. And so, let's say, for example, guys, if you're wondering why she would do this to you, why would she smirk when she says she enjoys time with her friends more than you, or when she laughs with her friends and can't wait to get away from you? The reason why she would smirk is because you're staying with her no matter fucking what, is that you don't have the balls to leave. And she knows it. And so she knows you're unhappy, right? She knows it. She looks at you. She knows. Women can read it all over your face. Guys are the worst liars, right? So if you're unhappy, and of course, I'm not talking about a small thing. I'm not talking about a disagreement. I'm talking about like long-term unhappy, not happy in a situation. Women know. They know. And then they look at you like, be a man. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, especially if the guy's a fairly cool guy, she's thinking to herself, he could go be screwing some hot girl, right? Why is he staying here in this miserable situation? And then she eventually realizes that the guy doesn't have the balls to leave. He actually is not capable of protecting himself. He will stay in a situation that he's not wanted, he's not loved, and he just won't leave. And he'll keep paying the bills, he'll complain. And I think this is where a lot of angry stuff comes out of MGTOW, is where guys who don't have the ability to change. And this is why my whole concept, one of my main concepts I bring in a new product I'm coming out with, Unblackmailable, is how you can make the right decisions for yourself on all these issues so that you don't have to get angry. So you don't have to, obviously the extreme form of anger is violence, right? That's basically domestic violence starts out from unhappiness. You have happiness, right? You might have love, and then you have kind of happiness, and then you have kind of like, getting along, and then you kind of have maybe friendship, and then as you go down, you might have no more sexual, friendship is no more sexual activity, right? So it's no longer a romantic relationship, right? So then the guy is less happy, and then it becomes dislike, and dislike is something that, again, these things are not confusing, okay, guys? They might seem confusing to you because you haven't thought about them, or you're busy working or whatever, but just think about the simple things, right? When you see her coming towards you, do you smile? What is the feeling that comes over your body when you see her? So let's say you're sitting there waiting for her somewhere. You're sitting down on some sofa or something, and you see her come towards you. How do you feel? How do you feel when in that situation? That will tell you a lot if you want to be with the person. Now, obviously, I'm not saying, and don't misread this, that you should use a small thing like how you feel one time or two times about her determine your general happiness with what you're doing in your life, right? Because most MGTOWs, okay, most people listening to this channel are in relationships, believe it or not. They're either in relationships and getting out of relationships, or they just got out of a relationship because of MGTOW, or they're still in a relationship and they're not a monk. And even monks. Monk is a term, but it's not anything consistent. It's like it can change in a minute. I've known plenty of monks who met a girl and suddenly they're not monks, right? So it can change, right? So, but what I am saying is that don't lose touch with reality. Okay, so have some things in your life where you listen to your body, you listen to yourself. Don't just think in ethereal terms. Am I happy with her? Think about real things, right? Do you want her around you? Are you happy with her? Is she happy with you? And you can see on her face. The best thing is not to say anything. It's just to analyze her. When you walk towards her, is she smiling? Is she happy to see you? Is she happy when you show up when she didn't think so? And the thing is what I think is most guys don't have the ability to leave, and that's why women look down on them, and it's almost why women start to hate men. Is because it's very weak. Can you understand, you guys? It's very fucking weak from a girl's perspective. Girls are very tough emotionally. Men evolved to be very tough physically, right? Women evolved to be very tough emotionally, to be able to handle whatever emotionally came at them and to be able to raise the kids. And of course, this is long before modern society, but we evolved, and people that couldn't evolve didn't survive, right? So women are very tough emotionally. And when they look at guys, they see us as very weak emotionally, and we are weak emotionally. So, and that's okay. It is okay to have weakness, guys. Nobody's perfect. And to say you're perfect is actually weaker than to admit it. Okay, because it's not true. And things that aren't true don't make you stronger, okay? The only way you get stronger is by accepting reality and realizing that you are badass. You are badass. You're not perfect, right? But you are badass. Accepting reality is fucking badass, okay? It is. It is very badass, actually. And women start to realize that when they're around a guy who is in touch with what's going on in the fucking world, right? It is very badass. So what, okay, let's go through the article. Okay. Getting married is often pegged as one of the happiest days of a person's life, as you have finally found the person you want to spend your life with. Okay. Spend your life. Spend your life. I don't know if that's even true. Often people decide they're going to raise a kid with somebody or they're going to do something. There's many reasons why you'd get married, actually, especially if you're religious and you can't have sex. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why people would get married, especially in Islamic countries. I mean, this is like this part here I don't believe, but either way, it is interesting because time, right? That's what the article is about, so that's why they use that quote, opening sentence. Okay, here we go. Spending your time isn't contractual, and you're not obliged to do it, right? So 50% of married women prefer to spend time with their best friends as opposed to their husband. And I do, before I finish reading this, I want to say one thing. I don't want to exaggerate the importance of this article and then tear it down. It's a version of the straw man fallacy because, like I said before, reporters are paid $50 to $75 max for an article these days. They don't have time to research things. They're often busy, traveling, jet lagged, whatever. So an article is not even it doesn't even necessarily have any meaning at all anymore. But I'm reading this one because I think it's indicative of a lot of things, and I think it does have a lot of truth to it. But at the same time, I don't want to say, hey, it's completely true, and here's one little thing that's wrong with it. You know what I mean? So I'm going to just rip it apart, because I can be right. It's not about that. Let's look at this. Okay, so they did a pretty good study, 1,517 people. Now, whenever you see a study, you always have to wonder, how well was the study done, and what questions did they ask? What environment did they ask? Was it on the telephone? Was it written? Was it stopping people on the street? Were they with their significant other? Where did they... In this case, they used a newspaper. And what was the name of it? Let's see here. I can't remember which one it was. It was in here somewhere, actually. Let's see. Oh, I don't remember what it wasn't. Indy 100, which is the Independent, which is what this is. Maybe it was the Independent. Either way, they asked these women, and the reason why I say is because it was generally a female audience that reads this magazine, this particular one. I think it was a version of Independent that was for female. I don't remember what it was, but there was a possibility of skewed data, is what I'm saying. Okay. So, but I say that I've seen this in my life, so I believe this is basically true. Okay, and I think if you just look at your own life, you'll probably realize these kind of things. Okay, so women say they can talk about everything. 57% more say that they can talk about everything that they can't talk about with their husband. Obviously, they have to hold things back. And I'd like to dig into that one. Like, what do they hold back? It's usually something they're going to hold back that's not going to make them look good. So they might be cheating on their husband. That would be one reason why they wouldn't want to talk to their husband about it, right? You can't talk about cheating with your husband, right? You have to talk with somebody else. So we can talk about everything. Doesn't mean that the guy's not capable of talking about everything. It might mean that, you know what I'm saying, right? You can't talk to your boss about everything because you're going to get fired, right? So, there's a reason why, again, it's not blamed on the guy. It's like, there might be, this probably is mainly due to the women not wanting to share things or it being detrimental to them, right? But either way, they can't talk about everything. Again, I wouldn't blame it on the other person. It's our actions. We're responsible for our actions, guys. And women are responsible for their actions. If they can't talk about everything, they're not able to communicate as well as they think, or they're deliberately deceiving the person they're with. And that was, I would say, was much more likely. She listens more. I would say that's probably true. Women are very good at listening, I think. Overall, as a rule, there's a lot of exceptions, though. And there's a lot of exceptions on the guy side. I can tell her things I would not tell my partner. That's the same one as we can't talk about everything. We enjoy the same things. We laugh until we cry. These are good things, right? I can truly be myself. We go back much further. She offers better advice. She's less irritating. Irritating is an interesting one because irritating it has to do, in other words, if I'm angry, okay, so what articles like this tend to do is they say, or even unspoken, is like the guys are irritating, right? That's the reason why she feels irritated. But actually that's not true. In other words, if there's two people in the same situation, so two children raised by the same parents, one child will consider it an abusive family, and the other one will think that they were a great family. Two people in line at Starbucks, right? One person thinks it's too fast, the other person's fine with it. Two people in traffic. One is very, very angry. They're both going to the same job, same schedule. One person is very upset, screaming. The other person, has road rage, and the other person is relaxed and driving to work. Obviously not happy, but a completely different reaction. So our reactions and our irritability, our anger, is our own responsibility. Now, if something gets you angry enough, you do have to change, and that would be something that if a husband irritated a wife enough, I would think that she would be smart enough to not be with him anymore. But again, this is the strange thing about marriage, is women will tend to stay in a marriage, and guys, what am I saying here? No, that's not true. Let me continue there. But sorry about that. A little bit of a brain fart there. But either way, more things in common, better sense of humor. But I guess back to irritating is like, we're responsible for our emotions, guys. Okay, you're responsible for your emotions. Okay, whether you're a man or a woman listening to this, I know there's more and more women listening. Is you're responsible for your emotions, and you can't blame it on the other person. You can't. It's not their fault. Our emotions, how we control our emotions, I learned years ago from listening to Wyatt Wood's Small Stuff and reading his books, how to have more control of my emotions, and also to realize that I'm responsible for my emotions. That was a new thing for me. I thought that emotions were something that hit me from the outside. You know what I mean? Like if I hit traffic, I'd be upset. I couldn't stop it, right? It was just like, my emotions being caused by this traffic, right? And then somebody else would not have the same reaction. It'd be very difficult for me to kind of even see that for a while. And then realize, wait a second, I'm upset, I'm fucking upset. And obviously nobody's happy about traffic, okay? I'm not saying that. But other people have different reactions, and I had to take responsibility and say, what's going on inside my mind? And what's going on inside my actions? So for example, a good example for me was, I would be very upset in traffic. But what was the real reason when I was honest with myself? The real reason was that I was cutting it short. I had left maybe 7 minutes late. I wanted to leave 10 minutes earlier, but I had left later, and so I had less, time to spare. So when I saw the traffic, I was very upset. But the truth was, if I would have left 10 minutes earlier, I wouldn't have been upset, okay? Because I would have been like, oh, a little bit of traffic, no problem, right? So we do have responsibility when we feel those feelings and when we are honest with ourselves, right? Okay, so basically these are all good things. Women are happy with each other. They like to have boozy lunches with their female friends. Now here's the interesting part that wasn't really talked about too much. 60% said they would have a better time if no men were there at all. 60% of women in the survey, 60, they had a better time with no men. Okay, not just their husband. This is very telling because husbands are obviously part of the men category. So these statistics are completely screwed up that they've said so far. 60% would prefer not to be around men. Okay, so we know that a lot of the statistics are not true. Women just don't have that much fun with guys, and that's totally fine. And this is where I really split with a lot of guys. Okay, because a lot of guys will say, actually, I should give this. Let me just 1 second. I'll give you. So they said basically, now here's the old tired thing they said. Men need to do better and be more accommodating and considerate of their wives' wants and needs. Okay? It's a story old as a time and is no less depressing to hear in 2018. Okay. Now, the interesting thing about this is what they're saying is that, okay, so women are happier together, right? They're happier together. And 60% don't even want men around. Not to mention their husbands. Just don't want men around. Now, the advice here is so bad to men, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Okay, what I recommend you guys, I really recommend, and this I recommend for men and women, is that if you are not wanted, okay, if you are not wanted, you need to be honest with yourself. You need to stop fucking lying to yourself. So many guys listening to this podcast are unhappy. I get your emails all the time. They're very touching, and some of them are so sad. Sometimes I really feel like this is almost like I don't believe in God, but I feel like it's God's work sometimes. Like it's like when I read the stories, and suicide does not surprise me anymore at all. Male suicide doesn't at all now. Now that I've read your email, so I know that a lot of guys are in unhappy situations, and so obviously when you're in an unhappy situation, you're already not feeling your best, right? And that's not good. But the thing is the only way you can get out of it is if you figure out where you are and what you're going to do next. That will get you out of it. You have to change. Things don't change if you don't change them, right? So what I recommend is start small. Like I said in the beginning, I want you to start to feel your body. If you're in a relationship still, or even if you got out of a relationship and you want to kind of like, you're maybe thinking about it like, oh, maybe I should have been in that relationship. I think you want to go back in time and think of how you felt when you saw her face. When she showed up, how did you feel? And I think, and see what, and start with those type of real things, okay? Not some ethereal bullshit that you can kid yourself. Feel your feelings when it comes to relationships. I'm telling you, this is very, very fucking important, guys. This is no joke. This is not like some fucking self-help thing. When it comes to relationships, if you're unhappy, you have to start to realize how you feel. And you need to make appropriate decisions based on it. Okay? Now, again, if you're in a situation where you are unhappy because of some argument or something, you know what I mean? Something like small, short term, something went, happened here and there, And this could go with any kind of relationship. This could also go to your job or your any situation that you're in. Like maybe you made a big purchase. You bought a house and you realize that you don't like the house, right? You're not happy with the house, right? So what you want to do is you're not happy with, maybe you're wondering if you're happy with your house. You're wondering if you're happy with your relationship. You're wondering if you're happy with your job. What you need to do is start small, start to think about how you feel, think about what's going on inside of yourself. Okay? Start writing. Okay? Get an app, get a simple app like Simple Note. SimpleNote.com is great. It's free. It's fucking great. I use it all the time. Simple Note is awesome. You can have an app, you can have it on your phone, and you can have it on your computer so that you can take notes. And then when you're on your thing, you can take notes when you're outside, because some of my best ideas happen when I'm outside, right? So you want to have something that's always on you. And then when you feel something about something, you want to write it down. You want to keep track of it. You want to, here's how I feel about this. This happened, whether it's a job or whatever. And so this advice here is that men need to do better and be more accommodating. This is the oldest advice they've been giving men since the 19 whatever, I don't know when this started. Probably they started giving this advice since they started writing about relationships, in books in the 50s or something. I don't know, way back. But the thing is, this is bad advice. This is very bad advice. The reason why it's bad advice is because it's not proven. Now, if they said something like, men that, if they had data, right? They had, we've done a study of, it's been a long time, right? 100,000 men. And the men who did this and this and this got this and this benefit. But that's not true, because what they've proven is actually, believe it or not, they've proven the exact opposite. So let's say there's two men, okay? And they're dating women, and they do a certain amount of housework. Everybody's different, right? Some people like to cook. Other guys don't like to cook. Some people like to travel. Do things, clean. Some people like to do basic things. I got a friend, he loves to make beds. He thinks it's super important, right? So how you, you feel, okay, so take your medium, how much you did in the relationship. And then the guys who did more, they actually got less sex in the relationship and they were less happy. And the reason is because nobody had ever tested this. The idea that was just believed is if men did more for their wives and thought about their wives more, it would be happier. But that has not been proven to be true. And I think the reason is because men and women are together for other reasons. There's something about a man, a good man, that makes a woman feel secure. It's not some little thing he can do. It's not some fucking, you know what I mean, vacuuming or something. Doesn't do it for the woman. It's a deep, deep thing she has. If she's happy with you, she's happy with you, right? Whatever the reason. And the same thing with you, if you're happy with her, right? So, basically, it's bad advice. It's not proven. It's actually proven to be the opposite. Everything I've read, I've never read a study that proved happier relationships, longer marriages, when guys try to be considerate. I swear to God. I swear to God. And I don't mean that the guys should not be considerate. What I mean is that guys have a level. They are a person, okay? You're a fucking person. You care about shit, okay? You care about her. You care about your life. You care about your body, your health, the world, the earth, the environment. You care about your car. You care about stuff a certain amount. That basic you is what she likes or doesn't like, right? The fake stuff, you can put on fake stuff all you want, but it doesn't change it, right? You know, you are you, and they like you for you, you know? And so the what guys need to do, instead of try to fake it or do little things to pretend like they're somebody else, is to realize that the person they're with does not care about them. And this is one of the hardest things for guys. Guys don't want to hear this. Guys don't want to hear that things are not going good. Guys don't want to hear. Really. They just don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it. You don't want to know. You know, that's why this is why guys get in trouble, is I want you to start to feel it, you know, and the thing is, it'll be obvious what you should do. Okay. I can't tell you what you should do. I don't know what your situation is, but the more honest you get with yourself, it's going to be super obvious what you should do with that knowledge. Right. So, guys, stop trying to, if women are happier by themselves, and I don't think this is a very good survey. Okay, let me just say where I disagree with this survey totally, is women would be happier alone. They didn't do any kind of real research here, because what they could have done is they could have studied women that don't have a man at all, ever, and they have another one who has a man who prefers her best friend to talk to. So some women would prefer to be married, and they think that they're happier with their girlfriend, but actually that's just because they're married. They like the combo of having the husband and the person that they can open up to, right? So that's very different, because you still have a role as a guy. That's fine, as far as I'm concerned. You know, if she's happier, you might be happier talking to your best friends. It doesn't reflect on her. You're still happy with her in the house, right? Fine. That's the way you know what I mean? No one person fulfills every fucking role in your life, right? So, I mean, let's not over-exaggerate this. You know, like women, they might enjoy being with their friends and talking with their friends. But I'm talking about something very, very different. I want you to start looking for this very different thing. And this very different thing is that you are with somebody who basically hates you. Okay? And you can't change. And you can't admit it. And you don't want to think about it. Is that they don't like you. The core of what you are and what you believe, they don't like it. Okay? That, if I'm talking to you, if you're with somebody who does not like the core of you, you need to fucking start writing. You need to start writing. You need to start writing about what they're doing, what it is that you believe, and what they're doing and saying, and start to take notes. Don't blow up. Okay? Don't make premature decisions. Just take notes. Take notes. It might take 6 months. Just start taking notes. How do you feel? What happened? You talked about something from work. She said it's boring. You know, you started talking about something you cared about. She picked up her phone, ignored you. You know, you were trying to like think of a new idea, working on something. She started looking at her phone, ignored you. You come up with ideas. She says they're all bad ideas. And she starts using you as an example in conversation of the type of people she doesn't like. So she might say, you know, that I don't, you know, like the kind of guys who, you know, or because he's this kind of person, because I don't like that kind of person. And you intuitively think she's talking about me. Like she's using this other guy as an example, but she's actually talking about me. She's like right to my face. She's saying she doesn't like me. These are the type of things you have to wake up to. Okay? Normal stuff, don't worry about it. But it's this other stuff. And this is where the real problem lies. And I think a lot of it is that guys don't I guess there's a lot of reasons why guys don't change. I mean, one reason is because of outside society, right? And also money. You might have a house together, right? You might be living together. You might have children. There's so many reasons why you might not want to break the relationship. But I think that you have to start somewhere. And I'm not saying you have to break. I'm not saying anything. I'm not recommending any action. The only action I'm recommending is to start writing notes in a secret place that only you can read. And you want to start writing your most honest experiences, right? I rolled over. I touched her. She said this. This is where you will start to get your wisdom. This is it right here. This is the gold right here. It's the specific situations that are happening in your life and your reaction, how you felt about it. You start writing that stuff down, and your action is going to be very, very fucking clear, okay? You will not have any more fucking confusions about what you should do. The only decision will be, how am I going to do it? Okay, what is the best way to go? Okay, so to finish this one up is when you find a woman is unhappy with you, okay, is you don't want to go into pissy mode. You don't want to go into kiss-assy mode where you're trying to do anything to make her like you. You want to go into fuck, like, what am I worth as a human being? Am I worth, really? Am I worth somebody caring about me? Are my ideas, it's my beliefs, are they worth something? Are they worth something? Am I worth, do I deserve somebody who cares about me? Do I want to be around somebody who doesn't like me? These are the type of questions you want to ask yourself. And these are tough questions. But the answers to these questions will lead you to a very, very good place, a much better place. And of course, it's always a hard road, whatever you end up doing, It is hard. It's always hard. Fucking being honest is always hard, okay? It's not fun. And also, you're going to see your part in things, too. When you're being honest, okay, it's not about the other person being wrong, okay? Let me give you a heads up there. You're going to find out that you've been wrong on things, and you're going to be like, fuck, what? I said this, and you know what I mean? You'll be like, oh, I thought, it's going to be, you're being honest now, right? So that is a good thing. And it will lead you to good things. And I think it starts to, you start to live your life this way. And when you live your life this way, life becomes much, much easier. And you have much less stress. You will start to avoid, for example, like this whole thing, this skill at feeling how the other people feel about you and how you feel in this situation. This will allow you to make the changes you need to be unblackmailable. Okay? There's so many things guys do that they don't want to do. There's so many things. They go to these, I just heard this great MGTOW podcast about stag nights. Before getting married, they go out and they go to strip clubs, and how much the guy hates it and how stupid and contrived the whole fucking thing is. I hate stag nights. Okay? I fucking cannot stand them. They're organized bullshit. Okay? I like real people. I like to talk to people. I like to interact with people. I like to help people. I like to experience my own stuff and get through my own stuff and come to new conclusions. I like to dive deeper into stuff. I like to figure stuff out. I mean, I don't mind other things like physical things, getting a nice blowjob, having a nice, exciting, interesting, unexpected sexual experience. These things are great, those things are great. But when you become honest with yourself, you'll start to see all the fake stuff in your life. And it could even be fake sex. It could be fake friends. It could be a job where you really hate it, or like maybe you even took the job because you thought it was your passion, and then you realize it's not my passion. This whole thing is a joke. The company is like totally dishonest. Everything's hypocritical. What am I doing in this situation? Like, I'm just part of the problem now, And so it could be in any area of your life, but when you start to practice this, being in touch with things and being honest with yourself, okay, then good things will come to pass for you, and also your friends, and also even anybody in a relationship. Let's say that you're MGTOW monk or you were MGTOW monk and you somehow got into some sexual relationship and it became a relationship, right? Maybe you don't want to talk about it publicly. Fine, whatever. But as you go through this, you're going to have emotions and feelings, right? There's no kicking out of this podcast, okay? You don't get kicked out of this podcast, okay? If you're getting something out of it, if you're enjoying this, if this is enriching your life, you're welcome here, okay? It doesn't matter. The other stuff, this is the deep stuff. Guys are in trouble. Guys need help. A lot of guys are in bad situations, and they just don't have the ability to change. And if that's you, I can tell you, you are not alone, and that there is a lot of fucking hope. There is a lot of fucking hope, you guys. Insane amount of hope. In fact, it's blue fucking skies ahead for you. You don't even know it yet, but there's blue skies ahead. But if you make a bunch of mistakes now on the way out, or whatever your decision you make, if you do it the wrong way, you do a very bad job of it, one, you'll have regret. Two, you might have a lot of pain in the future. There's guys who get into like situations where they, get so angry they get into a physical fight. Even if she starts the fight, it's still the same thing as if you did. You're going to prison, and she's going to be scot-free and get your house. So you have to be very, very careful. You have to be very, very smart. You have to go back to my black box episode. You're a fucking black box, okay? While you're working it out, you're writing your notes. Black fucking box. She has no idea. She has no idea. The reason why you don't want to have an idea, it's kind of like when you want to bring your dog to the vet, right? You want him to think he's going on a walk, because otherwise he's going to fucking run away, right? He's going to run away to the backyard. You got to chase him all the place. Right? You say, oh, let's go, And then he gets in the car and then like, going to the vet. He'll get over it, right? But that's the thing is you don't want, when you're studying something, which is what you're doing, is you don't want to tip people off, right? You want to study. You keep your cards close to your chest until you're ready to make a strategic move that is very clear, black and fucking white, okay? Middle of the night, smooth as fucking silk, quiet as a fucking ninja, okay? Once you're ready, once you know what's going on, and what the move you're going to make that move. But not a moment till then. Don't give away what you're thinking. Don't give away how you feel, okay? Don't do it because it fucks everything up. You need to honestly get a grip of where you are right now. And the only way you're going to get that honest grip is if you watch very closely and don't give away that you're watching. But you want to watch because you deserve it and anybody in your life deserves it. They deserve an honest person. They deserve somebody who's a man, who could make decisions. They deserve somebody who actually wants to be with them, okay? If you are with somebody, okay? Whether it's friendship, business partner, job, school, study, whatever you're studying, whatever the fuck it is, right? How you want to be in something because you want to do it. Because if you're in something, okay, this is one thing Don, my mentor, used to always say. I had a cup of coffee. It was half full. And so I went to get some more coffee, and there was a big coffee maker in the back of the room, and I started putting coffee in the top, and he said, "Don't do that." And I said, "What?" And he goes, "Don't put like hot coffee in in half cold coffee." I'm like, "Yeah, but I just want to warm it up." He's like, "Okay, how does it taste?" And I say, "Is it warm?" I'm like, "Well, not really." He says, "Let me show you something." So he pours it out. He gets a fresh cup, and he pours a fresh cup of coffee. He said, "How's that taste?" I said, "That tastes great." He says, "Look, don't try to pour, you know what I mean? Like when you're ready to change, pour the cup out, okay? And get a fresh cup. And you might even have to wait a while between getting that cup because you're not even sure what you want next. You might not want coffee, right? Once you get rid of the old shitty coffee you didn't want, right? So the thing is like you can't half-ass these kind of things. And you don't want to rush these kind of things. You want to be very, very sure how you feel. How she, especially if you're married, you might have $1 million, $2 million, $5 million in assets together. There could be some serious consequences. There's a lot of things to think about. There's pets, there's children, there's houses, there's parents, there's so many things. There's neighbors, there's neighborhoods, there's groups of friends that you're going to lose. You want to think about everything, okay? You want to really think about it before you make your decision, okay? You want to really consider, like, what is this really going to mean to me? Okay. But once you start to, don't only see the negative because there's going to be a lot of positive things. Because like I said, with the cup of coffee, Once you get rid of the old coffee, then you're open to some new thing. And your new thing might be a glass of kombucha in the sunshine in a cafe in Hollywood. You know what I mean? Could be a whole new gig for you, right? A whole new thing, a whole new fucking life. And you could be sitting there and some interesting situation could happen to you, right? That's what happens when you clean your coffee out. And I used the example of a refrigerator before, but like you got a bunch of rotten food, right? Sticking food in front of it doesn't help you. You have to clean it out. You got to do inventory, clean it out. But that cleaning process, even before you clean, you have to study which one is bad. That's the phase we're at right now, is which one is bad. So don't do what this article says, the way you say, hey, it's all my fault, I need to kiss ass. No. And you want to instead accept is that she might hate you. The woman you love might hate you. The situation, she might not want to talk to you. She might not enjoy your company. She might not like your humor. She might not like your job. She might fucking not like you. And if she does not like you, you need to know that. You need to know that. And put down comments below. Yeah, I can say this too, is it is okay. And the best way to be liked, if you care, which everybody does care, let's be honest, is to break out. Because you'll be more liked if let's say you're unwanted, okay? And then you leave without, you know what I mean, without a lot of drama, not a lot of put downs, no big fight, you know what I mean? You're just kind of like, no, I'm not happy in this situation because of this, and you just whoosh, gone. Is that she'll recover, she'll be fine, she'll be totally fine. Girls are fine. A couple of bottles of wine, a couple of crying weekend or whatever with your friends. Girls are totally over stuff so fast. Guys are the ones who have more time, more trouble, actually, overcoming emotional things, like long-term relationships. Guys have a much harder time. But at the same time, realize that you're doing the best thing for everybody, for your friends, for your kids, for her, for everybody, because just you're putting not only are you breaking this one, okay, you're getting out of a situation where you're unwanted, okay. You've already thought about it. You've taken the notes. You've talked to people. You've looked at it from the outside. You might even do something like this. If you really want to know how things are going in your life, you could record a dinner with you. You know, just turn on your camcorder, set it up against something, or your camera, your phone. Set it up against something and just record you guys in a regular conversations. Like the way that you interact. Video and everything. Physical, everything. Start recording yourself. That's another way to do it. And then go back alone. Don't say anything. Go back and watch those videos. You're not going to use them. You're not going to make them public. You're going to delete them. But what you're going to do is you're going to look for clues of how she feels about you. And you're going to look at clues of how you feel about yourself. It's almost like you're studying yourself like a lab rat. You're like, how does this lab rat feel? Is this lab rat comfortable? You know, like you have like you put like a cat in a room and then you say, is the cat happy? Like, does he like the scratch thing? Does he like the toy? It's like, no, he doesn't like the toy. He needs a new toy. That toy he never plays with, right? He doesn't like that scratch thing. He likes to scratch on the sofa, right? Look at yourself like a lab rat and look at her like a lab rat. And then, if you really want to take it farther, start to show the video to people. So, for example, I don't mean publicly, okay? Don't break any laws. Don't do anything illegal. If it's illegal to record, don't do it in your area. It's generally okay to record in any public place, anybody, in most countries. But check it out first. And so what you want to do is you want to record your basic interactions. And then what I would recommend, which I think is the best actually, is let's say you're somewhere where you're totally, nobody knows you. Let's say you're waiting at Sears to get a muffler. And there's a guy next to you you're talking to. You say, you know, I really need a favor. And say, I've been looking for a stranger to do this for me. Would you mind doing this? And then you say, look, I want you to watch this video and tell me how these two people feel. Tell me any kind of reaction you have to the relationship these two people have. And I really want your honest answer. I know you don't know me, and I don't want to know your name. I don't want you to know me. I just want to know, when you look at this video, what do you see? Do you see happy people? Do you see people living their dreams? Do you see miserable people? Do you see people hiding? What do you see in this video? What do you honestly see? And what is the what is the what do you call it? The interaction. There's a word for it. I can't think of it, but basically, yeah. What do you see in this video? And guys will be very honest, guys, especially older guys. Older guys are pretty cool because they'll be like, "Oh, I see. I understand what this guy's trying to do. Okay, I'll watch the video." And then the guy watches and he's like, "Well, I see this, and I see that, and I see this," and you're like, "Fuck, I didn't want to see that." You know, it's like I wanted to see it, but I didn't want to see it. Right? And you say, thank you very much. So there's many ways that you can go about figuring things out without alerting anybody. Okay, you're a black box. You don't even have to tell your best friend. You just need to fucking figure it out. Okay, you need to think of creative ways that you can not hurt people. You don't want to hurt anybody. Okay, you don't want anybody to find out that you're out asking your friend or telling them secrets about the relationship. That kind of stuff just creates more drama. So I try to think of creative things that I can do where I can figure out where I'm at. And sometimes a stranger is even better than a friend, actually, because they don't have any kind of attachment to anybody. They don't know that she's a PhD. They don't know that you're famous. All they know is what's going on in that situation. And they might say, well, she's frowning. This girl moved away from that guy. He moved towards her and she moved away. She turned away. That's kind of stuff people will say when they look at a video, if it's not a happy situation. And that's very, very telling. Because it's not just knowing. You guys, that's the problem when you have to change. Is you have to kind of get yourself motivated to make a fucking change, okay? This is part of it. Is you want to be sure, right? You want to be sure that what you're thinking is not some crazy thing that you've been thinking for one day. You know what I mean? That you're getting yourself all worked up into something. You want to make sure that you're totally honest with yourself. Before you make a big decision, you want to make the right decision. You want to make sure how you feel. You want to make sure what's going on. And once you start getting that feedback, if you're doing the right thing, okay, if you're being honest with yourself and if the person you showed, you're going to start having this flood of emotions. Because inside of you, you knew, deep inside of you, you knew this situation was like this. Okay, you knew. And that's why you're doing this whole thing. But you needed to see it in another way. You needed to hear it from someone's voice, right? And that's what this can help you with, right? Or if you don't want to show a video, fine, you can do an audio. Audio is fine. Audio is powerful. Audio voices tell you a lot. They might say something like, well, when the guy said the joke, the girl made fun of him. And he'll say, what do you mean she made fun of him? And the guy will say, well, she did this, And it's like, that's making fun. He's like, yeah, that's making fun of somebody. That's not respecting somebody. That person was not respecting that other person. And, okay, last thing is you're not a victim. You're not doing it to tell her anything. You're not doing it. You're never going to tell her this stuff. This is not about talking to her. Okay, this is not about blaming her at all. This is all inside your own mind. Okay? The reason why you do it is so you can make good decisions about what you should do next. Now, in some situations, you might want to communicate. Okay, that's possible. But very often, with these deep things, with these things where you're reaching out, where you're dying inside, is that there is nothing to talk about. But you need to know how to do it right. You need to make sure how you feel. You need to be very clear from many angles of your brain. You need to be crystal clear, not just emotionally, but logically. You need to know why you're doing it so you can explain it to yourself, so you can explain it to your kids and your friends and everybody. And you know what I mean? It's like you see it. It's like the elephant. The three blind men go up to the elephant and they're all feeling the elephant. And then one says it's a long, trunk-like thing. And the other guy says, oh, it's, floppy ears, and the other guy's like, oh, it's a big, strong leg. It's like same elephant, different parts of it, right? You want to see all the different parts of this situation before you make any drastic decisions. So in the end, guys, is doing these things and being honest with yourself and keeping it secret. Okay, it's very important. Keeping it secret inside your own mind like a black box will allow you the tools that you need to make the next move. There's nothing else I need to tell you on this one. Once you do all this stuff, it's going to be so fucking obvious. So put your post down, comments below if you did this before or you're doing this now or how this helps you or what you found out. Because often what you find out is things you do not want to find out. You know what I mean? It's like you don't want to find it out. And it's like, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, okay? It is. Guys want to have a perfect life. They want to have a perfect wife. They want to go to work and say, this is my wife, and she's a pretty wife, and she's a fucking sweet wife, and she says funny things, and she's wearing appropriate clothes, and you want to, like, this is part of us as being social creatures. We want to have this kind of like perfect little life in a way, perfect little life, whether it's, we want to be the perfect man, right? You know what I mean? We don't want to look weak. We don't want to look, when you're sick and you fucking look like shit. No, you want to think of yourself when you're in the gym and when you're all pumped up and you're looking in the mirror and you got the muscle shirt on and you're like top of your game and your skin looks fucking great and you're smiling, right? You don't want to see yourself. But this is not about that. This is about guys finally making decisions that are positive for them, based on real information, based on making good decisions, okay? And then smart, careful decisions, and not creating any drama on the way out, okay? You do not want to do that. You do not want to create new problems. You're trying to make a decision, right? You're trying to decide what you're going to do and who you are, right? Because it changes too. You might have been happy with a certain person and later on not happy with them. I know a lot of guys who maybe married somebody who was very young and sexy, and then she became, let's say obese, and they have a very difficult time with it. It's a very difficult situation because one of the main things that attracted them is not there any longer. And guys feel guilty about it. They feel super guilty about it. I'm not saying you should leave somebody who's obese at all. I'm just saying that you have feelings. You're a human being. You have emotions. You have needs, okay? You have fucking needs. You're valuable. Don't kill yourself. You know what I mean? You're fucking valuable. And if people don't care about you or they don't care about what you want, what you need, they can't give you anything. They can't give you any support. They don't even want to hear how you feel, right? They don't even want to fucking hear. They don't care, right? They don't even care to talk about it. They don't even care that much about you. In fact, they hate you. Like, dude, let's start being honest with ourselves. That's a lot of the problem is not women, guys. It's us. It's us. These women here in this video looking down on the guy for enjoying their female companionship, that's because guys will put up with stuff. If a woman was happy with another woman, okay, and she didn't need you at all, right? There's nothing wrong with that. That's great. You know what I mean? Like, just because you have a dog doesn't mean you need a cat, right? You know what I mean? Just because you like the ocean doesn't mean you need the mountain. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck, I mean, it's totally fine, right? It's everything's fine, but what's happening is guys are getting trapped into situations where they are unloved and unwanted and being made fun of and being robbed blind and in contracts that are very, very binding and very, very bad. And every day they're getting reminded of this by various things. And it's usually something quite, passive aggressive or not direct. It's not honest, right? Because they're still getting some advantage out of it, right? It's the same thing as if you have a job you hate, but you're still getting paid and you're staying there. You shouldn't stay there. You know what I mean? You should give your employer, or if you have your own company, you should give your all or leave and find something that you know what I mean, that you're into right now. Don't sit around and be passive aggressive bullshit, right? Same advice for you is advice for if a girl's like that towards you, right? If you're unhappy and you're faking it and you're full of shit totally, right? There's a point you got to say, what am I doing? What am I doing? Am I this person? Am I this passive aggressive person who's like staying in something because of some reason, maybe there could be a lot of reasons why a guy would do that. But you have to look honestly at yourself. And believe me, when you get honest with yourself, you wipe that smirk right off your face because you know that you're not perfect either. You know what I mean? And you know that life is not easy and that you're doing your best to have a good fucking life, right? You're not like above other people where you're like looking down on people. That smirk goes away when you start being honest with yourself. That's one thing I noticed a lot in 12-step programs. When people start getting super honest with their inventory, they stop being super know-it-all because they realize that they also have faults, right? They also have mistakes, right? So this is not, again, it's not about blaming, but a lot of you guys are in very tough situations and you're unhappy. Get the specifics and let's work on some solutions so you guys can have a fucking great life. And same for me. This challenge never dies. this challenge of being honest with yourself, it never goes away. It always is there for us. We always need one more step because we change. Things change. Times change. Everything changes, right? So stay on top of it. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. And thank you so much, especially Fjordor in Norway and Captain MGTOW in Israel. You guys, those were awesome letters. And everybody's been writing letters recently. I really prefer when you put comments because comments everybody can read. I really prefer when everybody can benefit. So if you do send me an email, make a rule that you send a comment too. Put a comment, right? The same idea, maybe not as long, but let other people hear. They need to hear too, It's often people send the most heartfelt stuff by email. But I really, really recommend it. It's still fine. Go ahead and send me email. Heartfelt stuff is totally fine. I'm not saying please do, but also think about giving back to the group. And there's a lot of other guys who are in the same situation. There's nothing embarrassing about being in a bad situation at all. Nope. The only embarrassing thing is not doing anything about it and just sitting there, right? There's nothing embarrassing about making a mistake, being in a bad situation, not being respected. There's nothing embarrassing about that. Nothing. That's not embarrassing. No, you're responsible for your actions, right? So what are your actions? If you don't really understand something, you don't realize you're not being respected, then you're not really responsible yet. Once you realize it, then it starts to get some responsibility and you say, oh shit, now I got to fucking do something. Now I got to either shut up, look at it differently, or make a change. Sometimes sometimes you're wrong. That's the other thing. Always be aware that your viewpoint might be wrong because it might be. We're wrong like 50% of the time, right? So always think, I'm going to look into it. I'm going to be honest. But sometimes, guys, and I'll just say this last, it's so fucking obvious. You're so sad and you're really not being respected and you know it and you know it and you know it's not going to change. And the thing is don't dig yourself a further hole. Do not do anything you'll regret. I do not condone any violence. I've never been violent with a woman in my life, ever. I've never been violent with a woman, ever. And I never would. So take that off the plate. It doesn't do you any good. And I was in countries where I wouldn't be prosecuted for it. But I still didn't do it. It's my rule. It's not the outside rule. It's not the police on me. It's me. I don't want to be violent. I was beaten up a lot as a kid. Okay, I had a lot of violence directed towards me, and I know what it feels like. I know how to defend myself now quite well, actually, but I don't want to do the same thing to anybody else, even if they're wrong. You know what I mean? That's not my thing. But what I will do is cool, fucking ice cold leave, baby. That's what my fucking violence is I fucking ice cold, middle of the night, no trace. You know what I mean? And that's the way I work it. And that's my way of getting out, because it is frustrating when you're in a situation that's not happy, right? You know what I mean? But it's like I don't telegraph things, and I do make very clear decisions once I'm absolutely certain about how I feel. And again, last thing I'll say is all this stuff is complicated. You don't need to make a decision today. Start writing your notes. Start getting in touch with how you feel about shit. Just about shit in general. About whatever the fuck it is that comes to your mind. I can't say what it is. Something came to your mind when I said that. That's the thing you want to write about. Okay? Could be anything. Could be your job. Could be, like I said, it could be where you live. It could be your relation with your mom. It could be like some thing you're raising money for. It could be anything, right? And whatever that is that popped up for you, that's the thing that's bothering you. Work on that first. All right, guys. Take it easy. Hope you guys have a good Saturday. I'm going to upload this sucker and get the hell out of here. All right. See you guys.